coming up on this week's podcast, we'll give you our impressions of South Park, The Fractured Butthole.
EA announced a major studio closing, and we'll talk about what that might mean for EA's future plans.
Plus, we'll talk about what we've been playing. Butthole. Cue the music.
Greetings, fellow gamers, and welcome to the Silent Majority Gamers podcast. This is episode number 9. My name is Limey Geek, and I'm joined, as always, by my brother from the same mother, Insomniac Matt. Say hello to the internet.
Hello, internet.
And wow, this week we've got a range of things that we played and took a look at, ranging from the extremely family friendly to the extremely family unfriendly. But I'll start with what I've been playing. I've been continuing to play Shadow of War, which of course we got last week and talked in depth about last week, so I won't go into it a whole lot today. But just still having a lot of fun with it, progressing through the mid game. People have talked about. I mean, I'm not at the end game yet, which people have said is a bit of a grind. But I'm still enjoying it and having loads of fun. Mostly through the campaign missions now, but continue playing that. Fantastic game, absolutely fantastic.
Not getting old.
No, not at all.
No,
not at all. I could just keep playing that forever. I mean, I'm not at that end game stage, which is more sort of grindy, I guess. I'm not there yet, so I don't know. And some people have said it's a grind, and it's kind of encouraging you to spend money on those loot boxes that we talked about last week. On the other hand, there's been a whole bunch of the community that have asked for that end game to be made infinite, so you can keep playing it.
Oh, wow, really?
Right? Because I guess people are enjoying it so much. So the developers actually announced this week they are going to be, in their first DLC update that they do, they will be adding for free for everybody the option for that Shadow Wars end game to continue indefinitely instead of actually having an end to it, because that's what people asked for.
And that's what, just like sieges and protecting your own keeps and things like that?
Yeah, you defend the fortresses that you've taken over, and you have to defend against waves of enemies trying to take it back. And if you lose the fortress, you then have to take it back again. So you have to build up your army and take it back. So I gather there's some sort of back and forth there, and there's a number of waves you have to get through to sort of get to what is currently the sort of the bonus ending.
Okay, very cool.
But they're going to do something to that to make it just keep continuing infinitely as well, because that's what people have asked for. So I actually can't wait to get there and play that, but I'm not there yet. I'm enjoying it so far.
A developer is going to deliver something that gamers are asking for.
Yep.
Almost shocking.
Pretty cool.
That's
pretty
awesome.
Cool. In addition to Shadow of War, of course, if you saw our unboxing video this week, we got a hold of the Super Nintendo Classic and the cute little console that plays all your retro favorites. Man, it's just so, it's the nostalgia of going back and playing some of those old games. And boy, I really, with the SNES more than the Nintendo Classic, which I got, with the SNES, I realized how much your memory is altered over time, and you remember things being so much better than they were.
Right.
I fired up Super Mario World on Super NES, and I just loved that game.
Oh, so good.
As a kid when it first came out, and it was so awesome. And now I remember when we first turned on the Super Nintendo, seeing that logo coming up and hearing the sound. It was the first time you had 16-bit stereo sound,
right,
which was really cool. And the game itself, and I just remember it looking fantastic. And I of course fired it up on my huge 4K TV, and the graphics are so bad. It's so pixelated and awful. I mean, it's the same game, and I guess on a smaller TV it probably wouldn't looked as bad originally. But you forget how bad things were relative to what you can get today, right? So
90s graphics.
Yeah. Even like
Mode 7 in all its glory.
Donkey Kong Country, which at the time when it came out
was like the best looking game on the planet.
Graphics. Yeah. And it doesn't look as bad, but it's still, you can still see how pixelated and stuff is. But those games are just so much fun to play.
Yes.
Right? Super Mario World continues to be a lot of fun. You have Zelda on there. which is cool, and Contra, which was the co-op game that we played
So
together.
yeah, we need to get through and play some Contra 3.
We're gonna try and make that happen. We're gonna see if we can set up a co-op let's play of Contra.
Yeah, I would love to. Yeah. Love that game.
Do that. So that kind of handles the family-friendly end of things. But speaking of family unfriendly, not family friendly,
Something like that.
Whatever. Not a game for the kids. Matt, what have you been playing?
I've been playing a heck of a lot of South Park, The Fractured Butthole.
Which makes you giggle every time.
I can't help it. Such a child. So yeah, I've been playing South Park, and it's been a lot of late nights. So I've actually been working a lot recently on a lot of late evenings. I'm running basically on fumes and hallucinations at this point in time. But I am powering and struggling to power through South Park because it is so damn good. I'm about 12 hours in now, and I mean, obviously the game is ridiculous. Obviously, I find it hilarious because I'm such a child and super immature. But it's actually a really deep game as well. Like I was really surprised at how deep the combat can be. So it's a turn-based RPG. And when you first start out, you'll have yourself, normally you have yourself and 3 other characters on your team. And you'll fight against anywhere between 1, 2, 4, 5 other people. And it's on a grid system, and it's an XY grid system. So depending on where you move, you can attack certain people. Some people's attacks go, vertically, some go horizontally. So you have to be strategic about where you're placing your guys. So before you take an attack, you can move a certain amount of spots, and depending on your character and who you've got on your team, they can move 2 spaces, 4 spaces. So you move to a specific spot on the grid, and then make your attack. And the same with the AI, with the team you're playing against. And it adds this extra layer that was not there in the Stick of Truth. And I think I mentioned it before, right? With the first one with Stick of Truth, about 10, 12 hours in, you're almost overpowered. You're literally doing like 2 moves and the whole team's wiped out. Whereas this time, enemies do get a little harder, and they also throw in some, a couple of wrenches into it. I was fighting Towley. Okay. And he was sober, and we were in his medical marijuana pot shop dispensary. And to calm him down, we had to set people on fire, or get set on fire yourself, and light the pot so it would calm him down so you could beat him. I mean, it's ridiculous. But I mean, it adds another layer. There's one bad person, that a very large woman, that you can't kill, but you've got to progress through this level, so you got to get to the end. So basically, you're just dodging her attacks at this point in time. So I mean, again, it's not the same thing every time around, and I think it's brilliant. I really do. Tons of costumes to unlock. They have their own take on a lot of Marvel characters. There's a Mr. USA, which is very Captain America-like. They have an Iron Man type suit, and you can unlock all these different costumes and then color them, so you can customize them and things like that. And basically, you're going around so you work for the Coon, which is Cartman dressed up as a raccoon, and you're getting followers on Coonstagram. So you're taking selfies with people, and that builds your notoriety and things like that, which is really funny. And with that comes all these unlocks, like I said, with all these different costumes, hair, makeup. You can create yourself basically as a little South Park character. And yeah, just going through the game is really, really fun. I have laughed many times throughout the entire thing. And it's the little things as well. I think they've done the little things really well. So again, you're kids and you're playing dress up, right? But it blurs the line between what do the kids actually see versus what they're pretending. Okay. So like Kyle is the human kite, and his special move is to literally fly up above the earth and shoot down lasers. And they show him doing that, but I mean, makes you wonder what the kids actually see, because after you've beaten a a group of bad guys or whatever, they're laying on the ground, they just get up and kind of scuttle away, like, I'm not paying anymore. Things like that. And also in mid-battle, they're fighting on the street, and all of a sudden, just as I'm about to do a super move, one of the kids yells, "Car!" And they all get off the side onto the sidewalk. A car goes by, and "Get out of the road, you stupid kids!" And then they come back on. "Okay, game on!" And then they fight again. It's really funny, very witty, super crude. But yeah, I'm having a blast with it. I could talk about it forever. I'm really enjoying it. I'd highly recommend it.
Yeah, it's completely like the show, right? The South Park.
It's like watching an episode. Yeah, you cannot tell the difference.
Both the look and also
the humor.
The humor and everything, right? It's the same thing. So I read an interesting review of the game that basically said, you already know if you like this game or not. If you like South Park, you're gonna love this game, and if you don't like South Park, you're not.
Yeah. Oh no, it's definitely an acquired taste, that's for sure.
Yep.
But pleasantly surprising with, like I said, with the combat mechanics and how deep it is, side missions. It's very clever in its stupidity, if that makes any sense. It really is, though.
Cool. One item of note this week in the news, which I thought was very sort of interesting and has sparked some debate, and that is that EA announced that they are closing one of their studios, Visceral Games.
Yeah.
Now, Visceral is an EA studio. They've been around for a while. They were known for the Dead Space games.
Yeah.
They did those. More recently, in the last few years, they've been working on a sort of an untitled Star Wars game that was going to be a sort of single-player adventure,
right,
with Amy Hennig. Amy Hennig, of course, used to work at Naughty Dog and was one of the writers on the Uncharted series.
Right.
So the theory was that this was going to be an Uncharted-style Star Wars
epic
game.
single-player.
Which I was really looking forward
to.
Especially
really
cool.
After they canceled 1313, right? So I've been chomping at the bit for a different type of Star Wars game.
Yeah. So the Star Wars Uncharted game, not happening. Not happening now. EA put out a blog post sort of describing their thought process and what was happening with the studio. One of the lines they said in here, in its current form, the game the Amy Hennig developed game, in its current form, it was shaping up to be a story-based linear adventure game. And the way they say that in the blog post is almost like that's a bad thing and we had to change it. And I'm like, no, that's a good thing. People were looking forward to that. Yeah. But they talk about how they have been, testing the game as they've gone through development, and I guess they weren't happy with the way things were going. They say in the blog post, it has become clear that to deliver an experience that players will want to come back to and enjoy for a long time to come, we need to pivot the design. We are shifting the game to be a broader experience that allows for more variety and player agency, leaning into the capabilities of our Frostbite engine and reimagining central elements of the game to give players a Star Wars adventure of greater depth and breadth to explore.
I'm not sure how I feel about that.
A lot of people have sort of suggested that this means really they want to make a Star Wars Destiny game.
I would play the hell out of that.
Which is not a bad thing.
No, I would.
Either. Those, shared world shooter type games are very popular right now. They're they're all the rage. Although EA does have Anthem that they've announced that is in that same vein as well.
Which looks very cool.
Of course, the internet being the internet, there was a lot of very quick judgments about this means single player games are dead. EA doesn't care about single player games anymore.
The internet overreacted?
Well, maybe a touch. Well, that's what we're here for, is to try and bring some balance to the force here.
Ground it.
There are still lots of great single-player games.
Yes, oh yeah, for sure.
In fact, even just this year. I mean, Nintendo, of course, always does excellent single-player games. They had Zelda Breath of the Wild, which has been incredibly popular, and Super Mario Odyssey releases next week, another single-player game. You've got your Shadow War that I've been playing, was predominantly single-player. Assassin's Creed comes out next week as well. Yep. You've got Wolfenstein 2, which was a sequel to Wolfenstein 1, which was also a single-player game. Yep. So there are some really good single-player experiences
for sure.
out there, and studios are still producing them. But it does make you wonder from EA's perspective, do they not see value in them?
Yeah.
Is this an indicator from EA that they're going to move away from that kind of game?
Well, I mean, because some of the online shared world questing type games, you can stretch out longer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas with a single player, you know, after 10 hours, the pacing, it depends on the pacing, right? You probably can't get as many hours into it. So you're also looking at, it makes you wonder how much these cost, right? I mean, they cost a lot of money.
Absolutely.
So they want something that people are going to play for a longer period of time.
Yes, except, you know, the only reason that that's a benefit is if they have DLC to sell you, or you know, the whole loot box thing, right? If you're playing for longer, they have longer to try and sell you that stuff. I mean, they did say specifically, it has become clear that to deliver an experience that players will want to come back to and enjoy for a long time to come, we needed to pivot the design. So that's obviously their goal here, is to create a game that's got a long lifespan.
Didn't they have multiple studios working on multiple Star Wars games, though? Didn't they show like an RTS at one point? Like the E3, they showed a bunch of concept art. It was like, coming in 12 years.
They've got a bunch of different games going. I mean, Respawn is working on some stuff too. Right. And I mean, of course, they've got Battlefront 2, which is coming out next month, and it's got some, you know, it's got a single player campaign in it as well, which is good. So, I mean, I don't know what this really means, if anything. It may just be that the game just wasn't very good, and just, you know, in their playtesting, players weren't enjoying it, and they decided to move away from it. I think it's very sad, because I was really looking forward to that style of a single player game.
Oh, agreed, completely agreed.
But you know, I mean, EA has, you know, BioWare is one of their studios, and of course they do mostly, almost exclusively, you know, single player RPG style, epic single player games, right? Yeah. So,
I'd love another Knights.
Knights of the Old Republic. Yeah,
for sure. I loved those games. I even enjoyed, you know, The Force Unleashed. I know I'm probably a minority there, but creating or playing as a way overpowered Jedi was a lot of fun, or Sith. Was a ton of fun. I really enjoy those. I'll play pretty much anything Star Wars. So, but yeah, I'd love another Knights, and I'd love another RPG like that. That'd be very cool.
Yeah, you've got to hope with EA having the Star Wars license, that hopefully BioWare is working on.
Oh, you'd think so, right? Like
Star
I said,
Wars
they have
RPG, right?
they have several games on the go, right? Mm-hmm. So, and if they're all using that same graphics technique that Battlefront uses, it's gonna be pretty.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can't wait.
Yeah, so I don't think this means that single player games are dead.
No.
I don't think this means EA doesn't want to make single player games, but maybe they just want to do them differently. There is this need, as you said, because of the cost of games, to make games that have a long lifespan and to try and sell lots of DLC and get people involved, and that's kind of the way the market is going right now. Mm-hmm. But regardless, we want to see a good single player Star Wars game.
Yes, for sure.
Although, like I said, next month Battlefront 2 could be a good campaign, so we'll see how that goes. Well, that's about it for this episode. Please do leave a comment on this video. Tell us what you liked or what you didn't like, and also send us your questions. You can leave them on this video, or you can email us at podcast@silentmajoritygamers.com. And any questions you send in, we will try and address them on a future episode. And if you haven't already, please do subscribe to the channel and tell all your friends. And you can also follow us for updates on Twitter @SilentMGamers.
And don't forget to check out our unboxing videos, or our bad unboxing videos. They're a lot of fun.
And there's a couple of new releases coming this week, so you might want to keep an eye out for some new ones in the series there too. So that's going to do it for us for this week. As always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Speaking of cups,
did you play any Cuphead this week?
I did not play any. I did not get any Cuphead in at all, unfortunately. Now I kind of wish I did. Coming up on this week's podcast. Coming up on this week's podcast, we'll talk about South Park: The Deviated Septum. We'll talk about South Park: The Sprained Adam's Apple. We'll talk about South Park: The Broken Tibia. I think I'm good.
Are you finished?
I think I'm finished. All right.